Now it says you won't get into the details of the issues with the fence, but clearly there were some structural issues, I will say, with the fence. Do you see that part?
Yes.
Okay. What was your knowledge of the structural issues of the fence?
Well, um, from the after action report, um, obviously this is security related. I don't know how much to get into it um, at this time. Um,
Well, look, the fence was installed incorrectly originally, right?
I'm I don't know if it was installed in yeah it was
And that's because the razor wire fence was left purposely in place between the stun fence and the institution, right?
I'm not sure on the reason for it. I'm just not sure.
Okay, but the that it happened, you know that, right?
From yes, from the after action report. I
Okay.
didn't know that prior to this. Prior to the escape, I had no knowledge.
Now, there were other issues with the escape. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
it was a whole.
And
It was not one thing.
I'm sorry?
It was not one thing.
It was not one thing. Okay. What were some of the other things?
Well, as I stated in the interview, in this, I think it was this interview, there was some stuff with the I'm trying to think of the word. This one is the escort. There were issues with the um, perimeter vehicle. Not and then I don't know if the tower saw what happened with something with I don't know if the tower saw the individual's escape either. I'm having a hard time remembering. It's been a long time. It's been almost 3 years.
Okay. And so you are aware or not of whether or not there was a food service worker alleged to have assisted the inmates during the escape?
Well, after all this happened, uh, I was aware that someone was charged.
After it happened, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So, does the Department of Corrections keep records of the telephone calls of administrators?
Object to relevance, we're sort of engaging in discovery now, it seems.
Is the purpose of this? It does seem like a discovery question, or something we could have done earlier. At where would what
Well,
would
I'm not
this
trying to get the
benefit us?
document. I'm just trying to ask whether or not this record exists.
So I don't see that it helps us, but I'll let you ask the one question. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Uh, it it would depend if you had the cell phone versus landline, and I don't know specifically.
Okay. Did anybody ask you for any of your phone records with regard to Sue Novak at any time prior to the escape?
No, they wouldn't have to ask me. They could find them out on their own.
Okay. So because those records exist, right?
They may or may not exist. I'm not sure. Because of the length of time, I'm not even sure if what's available. I don't know the answer to that. I just don't.
Okay. So um did Sue Novak talk to you about the food service worker prior to the escape?
Which one?
Any of them?
So, I don't really remember any specific conversations, but that being said, there is a lot there. I have to, as assistant administrator, there's many cases throughout that people talk to me about. And I mean, I don't remember a lot of these things. I mean, there were issues with food service workers at many of the institutions. This wasn't confined to Columbia.
Okay. Do you recall sitting here today whether Sue Novak told you about Holly Zimdahl prior to the escape?
I'm just not sure. I don't know. I'm just not sure.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not, or did you recall back on May 15th, whether or not Sue Novak had told you about Holly Zimdahl's potential involvement or her concerns about Holly Zimdahl prior to the escape?
I'm just not sure. I just don't know.
Okay. Judge, there's a second section here. It's the interview takes place the next day on 5/20.
So, give a
The second
page.
page. It's just a few pages down here.
Okay, this is 5/20/2020.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so this
Recognize
is
this on-
starting on page 467, and this is still respondents exhibit, oh, I don't remember what it is.
I believe it's 12, Judge.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sir, do you recall the day of the escape?
No.
Do you believe it was March 16th or something else?
I don't know I don't know the date.
Okay.
I don't
And
know the date.
fair enough.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you
Yeah,
stop
I'm-
speaking so softly or slow, fast?
I'm not sure.
Okay. When you were interviewed on May 20th, how long after the escape was it at that time?
I'm not sure.
Do you believe it to be a significant period of time or a short period of time?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So if we go down to the next full page, Judge, starting at Q14. Okay.
Okay, we're now on page 468 of response exhibit 12. Go ahead.
Sure, I'm sorry. All right. So here you're talking about with the investigators about the kitchen worker. Do you see that?
Which part, which section, what question are we at? I'm sorry, I missed it.
We are it says Q6 at the top, break taken from 9:21 to 9:22 a.m.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yep. That's it.
Go ahead.
Was there any discussions on placing staff on administrative leave or having enough evidence to place staff on administrative leave? Do you see that?
Yeah, Q8.
Huh?
Yeah, Q8.
And what was your answer there?
Should I read it?
Sure.
A8. Okay. So what happens is in almost every case, the warden, and it just wouldn't be at Columbia, it would be anywhere. They often call and they either state they're going to place somebody out on administrative leave, or they ask, or we have a kind of a discussion on whether someone should be placed on administrative leave. So then, and I can't recall directly if I had any conversation regarding what's her name again, Zimdahl.
Okay. And then going on to the next question answer, you also can't remember a case where it says I haven't went with the warden's discretion in terms of whether they would want to place somebody out on leave or not. Is that right?
Correct. That's what it
Okay.
said.
But it's also then it goes on to say, do you recall Warden Novak asking for your opinion or your help in the matter? Is that right?
Did you recall? That's what it says. Correct.
Okay. Were you able to recall on May 20th whether or not you had talked to Sue Novak prior to the escape?
No, and that's, that's what the complicating factor is. Like stated earlier, as assistant administrator, you have so many of these type of calls, not just personnel calls, but calls in general. And it's just, it's hard to remember these things. And, there was just a lot of issues in the Columbia kitchen with going back months. And I just don't know.
Okay, so then let's go to question 19. And again, an escape is a significant event, correct?
In the terms of corrections, and escape would be a significant. I would think it's a significant.
How many escapes happened under your supervision as assistant administrator?
Well, there's many escapes. They're just from different types of institutions.
I understand. So we'll segregate out a minimum security from maximum and medium then. How many escapes from maximum and medium?
Mediums, I can't. I don't know. Well, see that the issue is with maxes, there could be an escape, but it may be on transport or something like that, and not like over a fence. So it's
Okay,
difficult.
how many of those?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Okay, sitting here today, can you name another escape than the one that happened at Columbia in 2020 while you were the assistant administrator?
Not from a maximum security over a fence.
Okay.
But when the time I was administrator.
Okay, so you're telling us here today that some month after this escape, and with investigations and an after action report, you were unable to recall whether or not you had any conversations with Sue Novak about the kitchen worker prior to the escape, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yes. Because of the reasons I stated earlier.
Okay, but you didn't say I didn't have a conversation with Sue Novak, right?
I did not. No, I did not say that. No.
No. Okay. And in fact, they asked you, did you have direct contact with Warden Novak that you recall? And you say, I don't recall. And I thought a lot about this last night, and you would have to pull my phone records. So if I didn't talk with Warden Novak, I may have talked with the deputy warden. Did I read that part right?
I'm assuming you did.
Ralph, can you see it?
Where is it? Where is it? Which question?
Right here,
Question
question
answer 19.
19 is your answer.
Okay, I'll read it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know
It
what.
says, I may have tried calling Warden Novak, but wasn't able because she was obviously busy to get a hold of her. Do you see that part?
I think this is related to the day of the escape.
Okay, can you answer my question, please, sir?
Yes, yes.
Oh, you see that part?
I know I had received. Can you read the sentence one more time? And then I'm looking at it. It's A19.
I may have tried calling Warden Novak, but wasn't able because she was obviously busy to get a hold of her. You see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something that happened or not?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay. And then it says, I know I had received specific questions that I called the institution to get answers to. Did I read that right?
I know I had received specific questions that I called. Yes.
Okay. How do you know? How did you know that at that time?
That was the best of my recollection at the time.
Okay. So you recall receiving questions, but you don't recall whether or not you responded to any of those questions. Isn't that true?
That's what it says. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. And then whether I spoke with Warden Novak or not, you would have to pull the phone records to see exactly I called and so forth. I did remember talking with Warden Novak early in the morning about that one issue we talked about yesterday. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yes, I
What
do.
was that conversation?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, do you now recall talking to Warden Novak?
No, it's been 2.5 years. I don't. I don't recall this stuff. I just don't.
Okay, well, are you able to identify, based on the review of these documents just some weeks ago, at least, or sooner, as to what this subject that you were referencing in the previous interrogation was?
No, I just don't know.
Could it have been the fence?
I have no idea. I have no idea what that conversation. I have no idea.
Okay, so if uh, I'm not going to waste that time doing that. Okay. Do you know who the head of internal affairs is during this time?
I know who the head of internal affairs is currently. I don't know if she was the head at the time, but it's currently Chrissy Preston.
Right. Did you speak with Christy Preston at any time regarding this investigation?
I don't believe so. No, not that I can recall.
Okay. Did you ever speak to Magda Fesahai about this investigation anytime?
Not during the investigation.
Okay. How about subsequent to the investigation?
Subsequently, we had conversations.
What were those conversations?
I don't have any idea. I really don't.
But you remember you had them.
I believe I did. I believe we talked about it. Yes. I don't know what we talked about or what the nature of those conversations were. But
Okay. How about prior to the investigation? Did you have any contact with Magda Fesahai about the investigation?
about the investigation. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Okay. How about your statement that you didn't have any knowledge about the fence? Did you have any contact with Magda Fesai about that?
I don't know.
How about your statement that you don't recall having any conversations with Warden Novak prior to the escape about the kitchen worker? Did you talk to Magda Fesai about that?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay. Same questions. How about Amy Pahacek?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, same question. How about Secretary Carr?
I don't know.
Okay, but so you don't know if that you're not able to say that you didn't have those conversations sitting here today, right?
I don't remember any of the anything. I just don't remember.
Well, so you could have assisted in the escape, right?
No, I didn't.
How do you know that?
Well, that I didn't assist in the escape
Right.
because I wasn't physically there.
How do you recall that?
I'm gonna object to badgering at this point.
Yes, I think you've made your point, Mr. Cross.
I got it. Thank you. All right. So let's just say that Warden Novak did need assistance. Okay. Who would she reach out to?
She could have reached out to any number of people. She could have reached out to the division administrator. She could have reached out to myself. She could have reached out to Assistant Administrator Hobie, and then whomever else.
Who's next in the chain of command?
For me, or Who was my boss?
For Warden Novak.
I would be her supervisor.
Okay.
But the thing is, we act kind of as a team because we have to often cover, or did in the past, have to cover for other institutions. So it wasn't unusual that one of the institutions, if the one person wasn't available, they'd call the other assistant administrator, or they could call Miss the division administrator.
Now I understand. Okay, but now let's just go back a second. Do you recall whether or not there were any lockdowns at Columbia in 2019?
Yeah, I just don't remember. It's just a long time.
Okay. Do you remember having any discussions with Secretary Carr and Warden Novak about lockdowns in November of 2019?
I just don't recall. I really don't.
Okay. How about in January of 2020?
Same answer. I just don't know.
Okay.